All
Hey.
right. Hey. All right, guys. Welcome back to the podcast. We're gonna try and do we. I'm gonna try and do this a little bit more consistently now that I kind of got back on the, back in the groove of things. So first off, if it is your first time witnessing this podcast, this is a live stream podcast. It's live streamed on Facebook and YouTube. I'm going to look into live streaming from more platforms. But that's what we're doing here. Also, hit the like button. It tells the algorithm you like the content and you want them to push it to more people, which helps us out. This podcast is intended. It is intended to promote independent and underground music. This is not it. Now, granted, most of my guests are in the hip hop genre, but I definitely am to promote other genres as well, as long as it is local, regional, independent, and underground. Since a good portion of my audience is up and coming artists, I do push for this podcast to be educational. So if you are trying to get some education, if you are kind of in that, as I call, local rat race, where you're trying to turn your music hobby into a music career. We definitely touch on subjects to kind of give you guys some ideas, some motivation, and ideas. So kind of give you the game, so to speak. And last but not least, leave comments. Well, a couple more things. Then we'll get started with the interview. Leave comments. We do engage with the audience, and through the power of StreamYard, I can put your comments on the screen, and we will answer your questions and or at least respond to your comments. That also helps the algorithm, of course. And if you see at the bottom, this is a free live stream. But if you want to donate, any donations I get, I always share with my guests. So
Oh,
if you care to donate, it is completely optional. So anyway, we'll start off. Misty started off with some hellos. So shout out to Misty. Shout out to 93 and Alive. My guest is part of that team.
yes, sir.
And we got today's episode is called Connecting with Your Audience and Touring Independently, which will be the subject matter we will be focusing on, amongst other
Perfect.
things. So, gonna start off with my guest. You're from Lawrence, Kansas, right? Or somewhere in that
No,
area?
I've never lived there, but I've
Really?
lived
Okay.
around. Yeah, so I grew up in Kansas City and Topeka. So it's like Kansas
Okay.
City is right here, Topeka's right here,
Right,
Lawrence is
right.
in the middle. So
Okay.
I've always come in and out of Lawrence, but I've never lived
Okay.
there.
Okay. Okay. A little false advertising on my part. I could have sworn you're at least you're at least close. So you're kind of
Very
more in.
close.
Okay. Well, we'll just go there.
It all
We'll go
bleeds
there.
together. It bleeds together, man.
It
Like,
happens. It's like
yeah.
someone from like a Wausau or Claremore and they get told they're from Tulsa.
Well, fuck,
You
they
know?
are. Like, god damn it, they are. Like, come on.
Yeah.
It's only technical, like in the regional sense, like um everything gets lumped into Kansas City. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're from Lawrence
Yeah.
or if you're from Topeka, even if you're from Wichita, which is on the opposite end of the state,
Yeah.
it, for everybody else in the country, you're from Kansas City. Like
Yeah.
that's how it works.
All right, man. Well, go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Schwem, punk ass kid. I am 24 years old, man. I make music without a genre per se, but um, it's kind of like it's a blend. You know, it's like emo music, but also it's got hip hop and rap influence in it because I grew up just loving like Tech Nine and Twisted Insane and Twista and stuff like that. Um, but also I really loved punk and metal and emo stuff. Like I love all kinds of music, so I don't really care about genre. But alternative, I'm an alternative artist from the
That's good.
Midwest.
Right on, right on. So let's talk about how you first got into music. Like what inspired you?
Man, what inspired me to get into music? That's crazy. Okay, so when I was a kid, my dad always wanted me to really do music. He used to tell me like, "Hey, bro, like I don't care if you're in a band that never makes it, or I don't care if you sing, play drums, if you play bass, guitar, or whatever. I don't care if you hit the triangle. He's like, you'll make me proud if you just do music. I don't care how successful you are, just do music. And that was kind of whatever as a kid, but I really fell in love with music naturally. Like it wasn't like he pushed me into it, because my mom was really into music. She was into like hard stuff. Like she introduced me to Typo Negative, Slipknot, System of a Down. My dad introduced me to like Korn, Nirvana, just like the more like grunge kind of side of stuff, whereas
Yeah,
my
yeah.
mom was the more hardcore. But my mom also showed me stuff like Blink-182 and Misfits, and um, I had a really wide range of musical influence growing up. My grandparents were into country, and I really liked it when I was a kid. Um, just music has always touched me in a way that nothing else even compares. So, yeah, I just like to feed that. And
Oh,
as I grew older, it became more important for me to be a musician, because I started. Well, it's just the only thing that made me feel good, right? I felt really
yeah.
bad and like not like a normal human unless I was working on music or listening to music. And then I got to like the adolescent years of being a teenager, and my best friend, she was also one of my biggest fans when I first started making music and putting it out on SoundCloud. She ended up killing herself,
Hmm.
and that really fucking impacted me a lot. Um, so that pushed me farther into the music, because she was my number one fan and she believed in me like nobody else. And um, I always tried to make music that I thought she would enjoy. And ever since she died, it's kind of the only way I can feel okay moving on. You know what I mean? Fast forward a little bit. My stepdad, not the same dad that I talked about earlier, he ended up dying of lung cancer around that same time that she killed herself. So I was dealing with a lot when I was
Hmm.
15 years old, and music was the only thing that made me feel okay, and it really helped me through. And I went through some really dark periods where I felt like killing myself, and
Yeah.
like very much so, very much so wanted to do that. But every time I would come up with like a bar or like a hook, or I would just want to create music, and then I would end up creating music instead. So over time, that became like a direct outlet. You know what I'm saying? Like Missy said, so much emotional pain to release healing music. Yes. So I I found bands like Blue October, Angels and Airwaves, shit like that. That's music that you listen to and it kind of heals you. It makes you feel better. It feels like a hug. So I've always been like, I want to make music like that, but I want to make it cooler than those guys did it.
Right on.
um, Fast forward even more so. I'm doing my music career. I'm 17. I'm 18. Um, I'm going hard. Um, just doing shows, putting out music. My real dad dies now. And he, like I said, he pushed me into music more than anybody else. Never in a forcive way, but he was always just guiding me. He was like, "Bro, I really want you to do music," because he couldn't. He wanted to do music, but he felt like he had no talent. Like, you know what I'm saying? So he was like,
Man.
maybe my son could do that. And so he dies, and he was my biggest fan. Like I said, all of my biggest fans are dead, bro. Like my girlfriend Lexi, my stepdad. He wasn't the hugest fan, but he was very supportive. And then my
Mhm.
dad was like my biggest fan. He'd be at all the shows. He'd be front row. You can ask anybody who was around from
Mhm.
2017 to 2020. They know. Um, so yeah, when he died, I was just like, even more so, like, God damn it, I gotta like these people keep dying, and I have not created what I feel like I'm supposed to be creating yet. Like I'm creating, but it's not in the right vein. And
Yeah.
that's why I'm a musician, because I'm just trying to show love to the people who need it and represent for my dead people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Man, that's quite the story.
I'm sorry,
Uh,
that was so long.
no, no, man. I actually got some comments in the chat to catch up on here in a second, but the funny my story's way different because my uncle's a well, he was a 5-time world kickboxing champion, and then now he's
Badass.
been retired, and now he's a promoter, and for boxing and MMA, which has been boxing, kickboxing. Then when UFC became super big, which his school teaches jujitsu, taekwondo, kickboxing, and so MMA kind of merged into that. So a lot of the events he does is boxing and MMA and things of that. So
I love that shit. I'm
yeah,
so into that. I've always been
yeah,
into that.
Yeah, so yeah, for me it's because I grew up around that. Like I grew up, my whole family, majority of my family are kickboxers, and so I didn't know. Well, so anyway, so getting into music was just something I just wanted to do. Out of high school, I wanted to be in a band, and then obviously later down the line became a solo artist, and then the promoting thing just had a lot to do with when I came up, it was hard to get a show. Now, like one person, you can get a show like that. It's compared to when I came up. I came up in like late '90s, early 2000s. Back then, like you literally had to be good and you had to have everything they asked. Now, as long as you have a YouTube channel or a Spotify page, you can get a show.
You
You
can
know what I
get a
mean?
show.
So, yeah.
That's funny.
So, and then I
If you
got
know ATM.
yeah, right. But I got in the promotion thing. I mean, my uncle was an inspiration. I just kind of like made the difference. Like I said, okay, I don't need the boxing commission to permission to do a show, so I just figured, okay, I do this, do that, and kind of connected the dots. It
Can I
wasn't,
ask a question?
yeah.
Were you into kickboxing? Were you doing that?
I never competed, but I did take class.
But you trained? Cool.
Yeah, yeah, I took class and stuff like that. It wasn't really for me. But whenever because I still like exercise and go to the gym and stuff like that. So whenever I'm at home and I'm forcing myself to exercise at home as well, I'll still do some
Oh yeah, it never
sparring.
leaves. It
Yeah,
never
yeah, I'll still
leaves.
do some sparring just because it's just good to exercise your body that way.
That was
But
my first sport too.
yeah.
So music was essentially your way of spreading your own wings and going your own
Yeah, yeah.
direction.
Well, the funny
Okay.
part about it is, the funny part about that is that my dad was actually a concert promoter, and him and my mom owned a bar slash music venue, and then my
Oh,
dad was the guy. Now this is in the '80s. I was just like, I think I was a baby. I was like 2 years old. So this is kind of like during like the Motley Crue era, and you know what I mean? So
yeah,
my dad was so in the hair metal genre. And then
yeah.
80s rock and roll, like my dad was the guy. He was the one who put on concerts, did festivals. And I didn't know this prior. I didn't know this till after I already said, okay, outside of being a musician, I'm going to be, I'm going to do the promotion thing. And I just at the time wanted my band to have shows. So either we couldn't because we weren't in the cliques, where, you know what I mean? Or it was just when we did, it was so much fuckery. Like it was just put. And then when I got into hip hop later on and I started
Even
had
more
enough,
fuckery, probably.
yeah, yeah. Then I was just like, man, I feel like barely anybody can, everything's the schedule's all whack. There's no, you know what I mean? Like, so I was just sitting, so I kind of got more into it just because I felt like there had been a structure. So that's the funny thing about it is that I didn't know that my parents were involved in the Tulsa music scene in the '80s because, like I said, I was just an infant. So so in a way it was kind of in my family blood. Music was live music for and my so yeah. So that was the weird thing for me because you always hear now my other uncle did blues. He was a musician as well. He did some gigs. So there was some I felt like there was some inspiration or some family gene that came from there just
Yeah.
within different genres. So
I think it really passes down, man. The whole
yeah.
creativity thing.
So I want to give a couple of these comments a shout out.
Let's do it.
All right, my mouse will work. There we go. Kurt Crazy from Canada. All right. Yeah, guys, if you guys want to tell us what city and state you're from, that kind of lets us know how far the reach is. Um, I always, let's see. And then we've got Devils and Chronic in the house. Well,
What
probably
up?
just Schwem in this bitch.
You know it. Let's go.
Oh, ATM. Speaking of ATM, we gave him a shout out. Well, you did a few minutes ago. What's up,
What
y'all?
is up?
And then my dude Spencer from Omaha, Nebraska. Yo. And
Hell yeah.
then Kurt Crazy says, that's awesome how you can still grow in your music for the loved ones you lost. So inspiring.
Yeah, man, it's really the only thing that freaking got me through. I mean, like I said, like I would feel so low and dark that, man, I just like y'all know how it is. Like I just really wanted to end it. I was like, man, life sucks. It's so negative. But then I would hear a few notes of a song, and then all of a sudden everything within me just like starts churning in a positive direction, and it's like,
Uh-huh.
well, hold on, there's actually like there's something to this staying alive thing, even if it
Yeah.
is just getting high off of music. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right. Hell yeah. Okay, so we got into your early stages of it. How did you connected with ATM and the whole 93 to Life team? How'd that come about?
So he reached out to me. There pretty much was no 93 and Alive team at first. I mean, as far as I understood, it was just him, and I mean that's really it. Like I've seen everybody kind of form and become this group. It was coming together, but and you know he had the company name that he was repping, but it really just seemed like it was his own thing. But I saw him reaching out with the homie Silent Ave. He did a show with him, and he invited me out. He was like, "Hey, I reached out to Silent Ave about this show. I would like to get you involved on some stuff too, basically where I perform and he promotes." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And then he's like, "I just did this one for Silent Ave. Come out to that. We'll meet, and then we'll go from there." So I went out to there. You know, we met. We started chopping up. I liked his energy. I liked the way the show was. I liked the way he performed. Um, I ain't gonna lie, I didn't really like the music at first. I was like, okay, I don't really like his music that much, but the passion and the way that he's doing it is going to fucking it's going somewhere, and it's it's something to pay attention to. So I fuck with it. And let me tell you, bro, like that was in 2021. By the time 2022 comes around, this dude's music has a whole new vibe to it. It's like a lot better. He's a lot better at performing. And by better, I mean it more fits who he is, right? It's like it comes from a better place or something. I don't know. That's for him to talk on, but all I noticed is his music kept getting better and better and better. And we started hitting the ground running. We started with one show, and then we were like, all right, let's do a few more. And the next thing you know, we're doing like 3 day runs together. Like literally every other month, we're going on like a 3 or 4 day run back to back to back. So it's like,
I
okay,
love
we're putting
those.
a lot of work in. Um, Along those lines is where we met, you and me. Um, And yeah, man, the 93 in Life thing just grew and grew and grew. And now that I think about it, he did have gang. Like he came with I forget the names. I know Todd was one of them. Shout out Todd. But there was like five
Mhm.
people that I knew of that were like 93 and alive. And then, some of those kind of fell off, and then a whole bunch came in, and um, it's really cool watching this shit grow and being a
Yeah,
part of it.
yeah.
I played a small part. All I really did was promote it alongside promote and play music and stuff. But that's how it works. Everybody's got to play their part. ATM's a fucking awesome road manager. He's an awesome, you know, booker for
Yeah. Hmm.
yeah, KJT. Yeah, yeah, he know. um, he's just all around awesome dude, and that's him being an awesome dude is what made me stick with him. You know,
Oh yeah, hell yeah. Good to know.
shout out 93 and Alive, man, and just
Right
keep
on.
growing. They keep
Mhm.
growing, man.
So let's talk about connecting to an audience. I mean, you definitely have a lot of emotional and melody in your music, and but it's definitely looked like you've. I mean, the shows I've done and just seeing you on social media, you definitely have a devoted fan base, and it looks like it's growing. So talk about. I mean, a lot of artists will kind of answer this question in a way where like, hey, I just kind of put the music out and it just connected to people, but I always feel there's like something more to it. Like there's always, you know what I mean?
Yeah, hell no,
Maybe,
that's
you
not
know,
how it worked for me. I fucking
yeah.
like yeah, put the music out. Oh, hold on, my fucking it said bloop. Fucking you put the music out and people connect to it,
Hmm.
but I've really targeted my music to a certain group of people, not a niche or people who are into a certain genre, but people who need to be helped through music and who need that healing through music. Because I mean, I've been that kid for forever. I'm still that person where I'm at my lowest, and then I just like God. I need some music. I know mystical relates to me because we had some conversations about how it's medicine. So like I really just I'm I try to connect to people as much as I can because to me that's the whole point of music. You hear a song and you're like, okay, like I like the way it sounds, and then the words come in, and the words you're like, do I relate to this or do I not relate to this? Do I like what they're saying? Do I not like what they're saying?
Hmm.
Do I need it? Do I hate it? You know what I'm saying? Type thing. So, in my opinion, I've just been trying to sculpt this magnetic. this magnetic, not marketing, but just music style that it does exactly what it's supposed to do for hurt people. That's what I always say. I just make music for hurt people.
Yeah.
And I feel like everybody is hurt. So I feel like I have a potentially wide audience. And as I get older, the more I practice my songwriting, I try to make it very relatable for everybody because I want a song to be so relatable that I'm talking about my specific thing, but it relates to your specific thing. And somehow it's like right there. Um, I feel like that's the most important thing is trying to connect with the fans first through the music. I feel like a lot of people on our level are not doing that. They're trying to connect to something else, and it could be whatever. A lot of people are trying to just get bigger as an artist, so they're trying to connect to other people's fan bases. I do not care about that.
Right. Yeah. Same here.
It's about just creating its own wave.
Mm-hmm.
That's the most important thing, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm real big on that. I definitely feel that I always said like your audience is a reflection of you.
Yeah, and
So
you got to nurture your audience too. That's part
yeah,
2. Part 1 is making music that's magnetic to the right kind of audience in the first place. The second part is connecting with those people and understanding that those are your livelihood, that's your lifeline, that's all, but not just in a money way, but those people will give you purpose in life. Like if you're making music, if your purpose in life is to make music, the people who listen to that music are really your purpose because those are the people who fucking need it. Right?
yeah, for sure, man, for sure. Yeah, I think
That's your
that's
friends,
definitely
that's your family.
yeah, that's a key component, man. You
Juggalos
just
started that shit.
yeah, they did, yeah. I was actually a guest on a podcast, and he said that he felt like there probably would never be another movement like the Juggalo movement, probably ever.
Well, they might be right about that
Yeah,
because there's been several that tried. I mean,
yeah,
what's compare it to the Swifties though?
right. That could be very close. That could be very close.
And that's a big
Just a
up for
different,
ICP.
yeah, that's just within a different genre. Just but yeah, the devotion is pretty pretty similar. But yeah, man, I definitely feel like as an artist when you connect to an audience, like you kind of have to know like you definitely have to know who your audience is. And if you want to go further like in a target audience realm as far as marketing goes, it definitely helps to kind of it definitely helps to know like what music your audience listens to, so you kind of know in like what realm that you can kind of fall into. But I definitely feel I like the idea of an artist being the first of its kind. If I could like that kind of grows and is inspiring to like future, like I mean it's hard to say anyone is 100% original, like someone who was inspired by somebody else.
Oh yeah, no,
So
it's impossible to not be inspired by something.
yeah,
Everything comes from something.
yeah, like I always looked at Alice Cooper was kind of I would say the first of his kind, but I'm sure if you look in the past there's probably
Something inspired
someone,
him.
yeah, 20 years ago. It just now he probably amped up the weird and creepy aspect of
Yeah,
it.
no, he was a
But
pioneer.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
100%.
And then I feel like Marilyn Manson was the next one after him.
Oh yeah, I would agree.
Um,
Well, yeah, that
and then I feel like
on that scale.
Yeah, yeah. And then I kind of feel like Ghost Main, in the modern age is like the next continuation of that.
Yeah, and
You know
it's
what I
weird
mean?
because those are huge gaps right there. Like you got fucking Kiss in the mix right there that you didn't mention. Fucking Coal Chambers in the mix right there. Slipknot's in the
Yeah,
mix right there. I mean,
yeah.
there's hella things that all happened within that. But you're right. It was like Alice Cooper's the main one, kicked it all off, if not Kiss. Um, and then yeah, what King Diamond as well. A lot of people sleep on
Oh
him because of
yeah. Oh no. I'm a King Diamond is probably one of my favorite artists of probably any genre, not
Ah!
just metal. No, he's one of my favorite. And what's so funny is that he was in the back of my mind, but I was trying to recall exactly where in that era that he kind of fall into. And I know he because it feels like he's been around the same time as you know Cooper.
Right. I know.
So
Yeah. See, it's like before my time, so I'm not 100% clear either.
Yeah,
I know he was like kicking it with Metallica and shit when they were coming up.
yeah,
So 80s, I guess. I don't know.
yeah. He's definitely. I mean, and you definitely hear the '80s in his style. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of that. To me, it's but Alice Cooper just kind of hit
Misfits
the
did it too, man.
mainstream. Yeah,
Yeah, no,
yeah.
you're right though.
Man, you're mentioning all the bands and artists of all genre. Like Misfits is one of my top favorites. Obviously, he's a favorite. I mean, there, not the
He
he.
said he.
No, Misfits is yeah, huge. Like definitely one of my favorite bands.
Let me ask you a
For a
question:
while. Yeah,
Danzig Misfits or Graves Misfits?
man, I'm real big on the Graves Misfits. I like them for different reasons. Like obviously Danzig Misfits. Oh, I know. I'm gonna get a lot of people pissed at me for this.
I know,
Uh,
bro.
no, the Danzig Misfits, like when you really look at the beginning stage,
Bro, their
of
beginning stage is insane.
yeah, so when it comes to that like vintage era, I couldn't imagine without Danzig.
And it's
Um,
hard because by the time
yeah,
Graves came around, they were like a different band.
they were
You
more
know?
commercial. So when Graves
Yeah.
came in, they couldn't do it the same way because we're talking different eras. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
100%.
I think, but I love Famous Monsters as an album.
Oh
So
yeah.
I
100%.
also met Danzig, not Danzig. I wish. Um, I met Graves actually twice. Once he came to Tulsa in his both in his like new solo band. Um, Once he came to the Vanguard in Tulsa, and he was doing free meet and greets for the show, so I got a picture with him and all that. Years back, I used to be in a metal band. It was a horror metal band called None Were Found from Arkansas,
Yeah, I want to
and
learn. I want to talk more about the band stuff because I was in a
yeah,
band too.
hell yeah, we'll get there. And we were supposed to open up for him, and half the band were Misfits fans. And then there
Nice.
was like this is a funny story. So, um, so I guess there was a miscommunication between either himself or his manager and the venue owner, and he was late, so they canceled it. And then finally, when they finally called the promoter, and he goes, "Yeah, I canceled the show. You guys didn't show up." And then I guess his tour manager said, "Well, all our shows have been at bar, so we never need to be there till like 10 o'clock." We're talking like for them to do a 2 hour set, and there's like one opener is basically what they've been getting used to. And then knowing and this venue owner, he doesn't give a shit. Like he'll tell you to fuck off. And that's pretty much what he said. And now, granted, I was not here, so I could be paraphrasing the story, but I will never forget the story. So I guess the tour manager got off the phone and said the venue owners told me to fuck off. And so, so what I was told was Michael Graves grabbed the phone and said, "Bro, I will rip your fucking head off and bury you," and then hung up on him. Then the venue owner calls the police trying to track him down.
Oh my god,
But it was cool because that sounded so Misfits.
that does sound very
So
Misfits.
I
So
was like, all right, well, Graves is
man,
no studio gangster. All right, I'm with it.
Graves had some really good songs.
Mhm.
Like that's him on what's the one before fucking
Hmm.
Famous Monsters. By the way, I love
Oh,
Saturday Night from that album. That's my favorite.
oh, me too, me too. American Psycho. I think that came
Um,
before. It could have been came after. I
I
know I
remember,
sound like a terrible Misfits
but
fan.
dig up her bones. The album would dig up her bones.
I
Maybe
am.
American Psycho, maybe not.
I'm
I really
pretty.
love that.
I'm pretty sure. Let me Google.
But there's
I'm one of
plenty of
those.
songs by Danzig. I'm more of a Danzig fan than a Graves fan,
Yeah. To
especially
me,
after finding out the political bullshit related to Graves and how he's a fucking skinhead and he's racist as shit.
oh damn,
I don't
that
really
just burned me.
I don't like that shit at all.
No, me neither.
But the music is
Damn.
good. God damn it.
Yeah. What was there's a saying, don't meet your heroes because you don't
Yeah,
want to get to know them. Um,
ruins it.
yeah, okay,
That's
yeah,
the
that
same reason you don't work at Taco Bell if you like Taco Bell.
oh god. I worked at McDonald's when I was in my 20s, and I think I was there for one day because I was so grossed out.
He said, "Wow, this is what I've been
Yeah,
eating."
I will never forget how that cheese looks.
Yeah.
That was it for me.
What's the
I
cheese
was
look like?
it just looks like, I don't know, it looks so gross. You could tell it just been sitting there for days, and you're like, dude, we're putting that in our bodies. Now I never, which then I can't tell you last time I had a McDonald's. Not just for that particular reason, but just because I don't know. We have
Hey, we
health
got
reasons,
Whataburgers out there. We got fucking Wendy's out there. Motherfuckers be lazy if they're going to McDonald's.
right?
But I can't say I don't go to McDonald's. I recently went to grab the double Big Mac, and I'm so glad I tried that shit. That shit was fucking awesome. That
Damn,
shit
damn,
was fucking good. There are four patties, four meat patties on there. It's 1,500 calories in one sandwich.
damn.
It's like holy fuck.
That's another thing. So you're really into like fitness, and I've seen Facebook posts where you talk about how to like get eating wise, like
Yep.
what kind of food to eat
Yep.
to stay fit and stuff like that. Obviously, you're in great shape and everything. So
Thank you.
anyone that's seen Schwem live, he takes his shirt off. You can tell, dude.
It's a thing.
Dude takes care of himself,
And
or good genes, one or the other.
nah, jeans. Well, the jeans are pretty good, but
Yeah.
they're not that good.
Okay, I got you.
um, fucking.
So how do
So
you?
what's the question here?
Oh, we're talking fast food. So like, how do you work that? Are you one of those cheat day a week? Or are you able to like kind of work that off?
Yeah.
Like, how's that work
So
within your?
for me, I like being really lean. So I eat
Mhm.
like I'm in a cut all the time. Um, and sometimes you get too leaned out and you really need to bounce back because you're in too much of a calorie deficit, right? So
Yeah,
like
that's happened to me.
being lean, I mean, I'm sure just in case anybody doesn't know, that's like when you got veins showing, that's when you got like muscle
Hmm.
separation, stuff like that. It's the more lean you are means the more skinny you are. Um, but skinny not in the terms of like having no muscle mass.
Right,
But
right.
anyway, regardless, a lot of times because of first of all, I just like being lean, but also um, I'm not the most richest man. I'm
Yeah,
like the opposite of that. So I don't have a lot of money. And like I say that in one of the songs, I'm like, I'm still broke as fuck. That's how I stay lean. So
yeah.
yeah, a lot of times I'll eat like just rice and chicken or like cans of tuna
Hmm.
or like oatmeal in the morning, maybe some fruits,
Yeah.
protein shakes, stuff like that. But I
Nice.
can't afford a whole lot of good food, but what I do eat is just good shit most of the time.
Hmm.
And then, like I said, I have the cheat days every once in a while where
Yeah, yeah.
I play catch up. And so that's really important for your energy levels. Your energy
Oh yeah.
levels will dip a lot if you're cutting all the time.
Oh yeah. Totally.
And I'm
I
sort of
think.
in a phase right now. I really want to gain. I'm trying to break 200 pounds.
Hmm.
And so yeah, I'm trying to like gain weight. So I'm able to have more cheat days than normal. Um, yeah. And also like, just because I'm about to start this tour segue,
Hmm. Oh yeah,
um,
we're getting that. That subject's coming up. So yeah.
so as I'm starting this tour, I'm trying to make sure that I got a little bit of fat content on me, like not too much. I still want my abs showing and shit, but last time I went on a long tour, I got out there. I didn't really know how to take care of myself as much. I started out looking great, but then halfway through the tour, I started looking rough. You know what I'm saying? Like it was not the
Oh
way
yeah.
I liked my body to look. And, I wasn't really eating right. But now my knowledge is a lot better. And I had cut before going into there. So essentially, I'm in a bulk phase before I start tour. That way, when I start tour, the cut will just happen and I'll just get, more lean throughout the tour rather than actually lose muscle mass like I did last time.
Oh yeah. That reminds me of the Mood Swings tour for me. Um, was because literally like all I think the majority of what we ate was like pizza and chicken tenders and
But you was probably
fries.
only eating that shit once a day, though. You know what I mean?
Probably. I think it was we would go somewhere for lunch,
Okay.
and because I remember Denton, Texas, we played at the Jane Jay's Pizza back when it was open. So yeah, I think we did kind of like a lunch and dinner kind of thing. But I remember I remember gaining a little weight when I got home. I was like, okay, I gotta I gotta lean out and stuff like that. So I'm pretty. The funny thing is, I try to be very uh, like I don't want to say health concern, but just like you definitely want that energy,
Yeah.
and
Feeling good is the most important thing. Fuck
yeah,
looking
yeah,
good. Fuck having abs and veins. What's
yeah,
most important is feeling good.
yeah. But I'm very like I've noticed like high protein meals definitely like work for me energy wise, and I tend to look the best when that's and then obviously
Hell
like
yeah.
complex carbs, fruits, veggies, stuff like that.
Hey, he knows
Water,
about it.
yeah,
Let's
yeah,
go.
yeah.
Let's go.
So
I'm a
stuff
personal
like
trainer. So that's like my day
yeah,
job. Like
oh
I'd
yeah,
be teaching people about that shit. So fucking running into somebody like you who already knows what that is like, that's awesome.
yeah. So but so for me like uh people would shit on it's like my tour mates would get so frustrated because like literally like for lunch I'll always like let's go to Chipotle, and then because for there I'll get like a salad or get like a protein bowl and stuff like that, and then that's what I'm eating. I'm for the most part, and then I'll pick a few days where I'm like, oh, okay, we can go to Whataburger, I guess, or we can go have a burger or something, or pizza, stuff like that. And but it's funny because I think the easiest part was being in Lawrence because there was the infamous Monsters tour. We were stuck in Lawrence for a few days off in between stops, and so for there, like like I think Freydis is watching. Like Freydis is like, look, man, I'm going next door.
What was it? Fast Shack?
No, I'm not sure. I just it's I've always toured with the I eat whatever I want guys, and to me,
Yeah.
it's for me now. For me though, I can't really stomach processed food that much. Like I kind of enjoy it like on a weekend, but if I have it for lunch and dinner on one day, by the time I get to evening time, not feeling the best. So
Yeah.
so your body gets
You'd
used
be
to certain
tired.
things. Yep, Freydis remembers.
Yep. Man, I
Oh
grew up poor, so I grew up
yeah,
eating only processed food and only dollar menu McDonald's and
yeah,
Taco Bell's. Like that's the only thing that
hmm
I grew up eating. So as I got older, I started changing it. I had to acquire that taste. And I do a really good job about that. I'm very
yeah,
disciplined, and
yeah,
I'm proud about that. But at
uh-huh.
the same time, like I don't eat for flavor anymore. Like I eat
Yeah,
for nutrients, and then flavor comes
yeah.
secondary. And
I
that's the
got
best
you.
way to be, man.
Yeah,
Because
and
you
also
do that,
I got more into
you're on
cooking as
point.
well. I got more into
Yeah.
cooking as well from all that. So um but yeah, so who was it? I can't remember who it was, but someone had told me that like I'm an expensive person to tour with because I'm always looking at the buffets. Christoph Murdoch, that's who it was.
I hear her laughing in the
I love,
background.
yeah, yeah.
Shout
My girl's here. She hooked me up with a beer though. She's eating
out
she's eating pizza while we're talking about eating healthy.
pizza and beer. I love pizza. I
I
love
know it's hard.
eating,
It's hard not to.
and
Oh, we got
that's why I can
yeah,
eat
Magic
so like
Mizzle.
that's why I
Yeah.
can eat so good because like good as in nutritionally because I don't give I just love eating. Like I don't give a shit what it tastes like.
Mhm.
I'll learn to like it. Like give me
Right.
that shit. I love eating.
Yeah.
But pizza
Me-
is probably my favorite food
Yeah.
to
It's
be
hard.
honest.
It's hard to dislike pizza.
Uh
Well, Tulsa is like number two, in the country of best pizza next to New York. We made that list.
what about Chicago? What?
No, it beat Chicago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Well, I guess I gotta try some pizza.
All right. Well, you'll be in Owasso. Well, we'll get to that in a minute. So that's close enough. Oh, Magic Mizzle says now I'm hungry. Okay. We'll get off the food subject. Oh yeah.
Eat some rice and
Yeah.
meat. Oh shit. What is that? Some Alfredo pizza?
Yep, you got it right. So next we'll talk about touring. And I think we'll probably end it on the touring subject. We're getting
Yeah, we
close to
went.
that hour mark. We went
I
over.
know you was like, yeah, 30-minute interview.
Yeah,
My bad, bro.
it
I
no,
had to
it
spit.
happens.
I've been doing these interviews, and I'm a lot of times I'll be like, all right, we'll let the interviewer take the lead, and you're good at it. You have plans. A lot of times these people aren't good at it, So I gotta like talk over him, and I gotta like, all right, so you're not asking me shit. I gotta actually talk about some shit that I want to talk about.
Right.
Um, you know,
I just
but
go
a
off
lot
the
of
cuff.
these,
I just go
yeah,
off the cuff. I just
we
been
were
doing the
vibing.
I've been doing the podcast thing for some years, so I kind of got my whole structured idea
I've
of
I've just had like these
stuff.
podcasts where it ends, and then it's like I feel like I didn't say anything worthwhile. Like I feel like this other person asked a couple questions and then went off on a rant. And then I like this isn't even
Yep,
my interview at this point.
that's true.
That's not how I
So
feel with you. You're my bro, man. This is a good
yeah,
one.
for hell, bro. For right on, bro. So yeah, we'll end it on the touring. So talk about how you first got into touring because you've done quite a few
Yeah, man. I got into touring pretty early, really, because in my head I thought that that was like
later
um
down the line.
that's the way to go.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm like, all right, let me get into that as soon as I can, and then doing shows locally, and then eventually regionally, and then going across the nation to different places. Um, every time it just really paid off. Like it made a lot more fans. It felt better and cooler,
Yeah.
and yeah, it just seemed like the way to be, man. Because I grew up watching Tech 9. He was the hardest touring
Hmm.
independent artist ever. Maybe he's
Yeah.
been beaten now, but at the time he was the top touring independent artist, and I really looked up to that because I'm from Kansas City, and also, you know, just always been one of my favorite artists. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, that shit's cool. And then all the bands that I liked, they were all touring their ass off too. So in my head, I'm like, this is what you got to do. You make an album, you hit the road. So I was like, let me find a way to do that. I got involved with it, setting up my own shit, to be honest. And it was very stressful, very hard, but I didn't care because that's what I had to do to make it happen. So 2019, I went on my first official tour that was longer than 3 days because I've been on a couple 3 day runs, but
Uh huh.
it's like a mini tour. Um, so I really started in 2019 with that tour. We had like some 3 day runs in 2018 that got me ready for tour and traveling and whatnot, but it wasn't like a week straight on the road. So started doing that, met more connects, and then you know how it goes on the road. You're in a new city, you're meeting new people, they fuck with you. They're like, when are you coming back? And I'm like, I guess in, whatever this month or like, October or whatever the fuck. Um,
Yeah.
and then so once I started meeting ATM, we were doing a lot of local shows, but he wasn't so into touring. He had some connects, but we really had to run them. So we kind of teamed up, and then we started touring together, and it really came together for both of us. And then now we're both on like actual tours where we're actually getting in fans. It's actually kind of paying for itself a little bit because the money circulates.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
making more sense, and we did that by hitting a lot of like Des Moines, Tulsa,
Hmm.
fucking Wichita. Um, what did we do? Some Texas stuff, shit like that. Till eventually we did the Big Wavy tour, which the Big Wavy tour was me, ATM, and Silent Ave, and that was like a really probably like the first big tour. Big. We
Yeah.
went all the way down to the southeast coast, and then
Hmm.
came up. From there, we hit like Texas and uh, Tulsa, St. Louis. The St. Louis show didn't actually happen. It got canceled while we were in St.
Damn.
Louis. It was super lame.
Damn.
But that was the only one. All the other ones were good. And then we went on a tour with Snake Lucci later the
Hmm.
next year. And then we went on another tour with him that same year. Um, and then that same year, went on tour with Lil Heaven for the Do Not Disturb tour. And that was like a 3 week long tour. We went out to Cali, shit like that. That was my first time out there.
Nice.
ATM
Yeah.
set most of that up. Um,
Yeah. I got to have I know those last two tours. I got to have the one with Snake Lucy we had in Owasso, the
yep.
district, and then the Do Not Disturb we had at our open mic at Lot 6.
Yes,
Those
sir.
were those were fun times. So yeah,
Yes,
yeah, I remember that. Oh yeah,
sir.
bro.
Um,
Um,
and then we got this tour right now. It's just, we're just trying to level up each time, right?
yeah, yeah, definitely.
I'm trying to level
Um,
up, put on for the gang, and pave the way. Because once one person from a city is in the door, there's no reason somebody else from that same city can't be in that same door. That's
yeah.
just how it works.
So, any advice you would have to any artists that want to be able to set up their own tour or?
Oh, I got so much advice, but we'll keep it
Okay.
simple. We'll keep
Okay.
it simple.
All right.
um, the goal of being on the road is just to keep it rolling.
Uh-huh.
Whatever it is that comes and lands in your lap, because it'll be something. It'll be multiple things. You just gotta take it and keep it rolling. Work with it. You know what I'm saying? Get the repair, or you know what I'm saying? Change the oil. Fucking, god damn it. Fill in the artist or play longer on your set because people flake out or, just do what you got to do to make it to the next city. Do not give up and just understand that you got to keep your eye on the prize. Keep it rolling. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, man, for sure.
Oh, and leave an impact.
Yeah.
Not come in and act like you own the place, but just be a genuinely cool person and actually
Mhm.
be willing to make friends because you can't make no fans until you can make friends.
Yeah. That's been that was kind of a rule I kind of get that I would have is that if the like I'd get the bartender's name, I would
I'll do
get the
that
door.
if she cute.
I just meant in general. I got a girl. So I
Well,
would get the door guy's name, definitely get the sound guy's name. So that way then that way that entire night, like you have friends within that area. And if you leave a good impact, and
yeah,
especially if you're kind of addressing them as people.
yeah.
And
Your
honestly,
network is your net
yeah.
worth, man.
Yeah, yeah. And definitely the owner, if you get to or manager or whoever's and make friends that way, especially if you come back and then it's almost like it's your home away from home. So when you come back and then
Yeah,
you, even if you don't always see the same bartender, because very rarely do you see places where you'll see the same bartender, they kind of come and go. But more likely you'll see the same sound guy. Definitely, you should see the same venue owner if he's around, unless they got bought out. But
you set up a show for us at Blackbird one time, and
yeah, yeah, I
that
did.
was so good. That was
Yeah,
awesome.
I
That
remember
was
that.
such a good show.
Yeah.
I remember fucking it was a good turnout.
Hmm.
Everybody really loved it.
Yeah.
I sold a bunch of merch. So did you
Yeah.
guys. We shared a merch table that night.
Yeah, we did.
I
Yeah.
was tripping balls on acid.
Ah.
It was rough. Man, yeah, the bartender that night was hella cute. I still talk to her. She cool.
Yeah. So
But so
what else is so
instead of
solid?
saying leave an impact, I should say leave a good impression. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
It's about leaving a good impression on the artists, the fans, and most importantly, the venues. Yeah, I know Blackbird's gone now.
Yeah.
R.I.P. That was a cool venue.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, I definitely say leave an impact, and um, yeah, that's a big thing, especially especially when it comes to coming back. Obviously you want to those fans that you made to come back, and definitely just have like a good rapport with the venue,
Yeah,
or
that's your
just
business. You're
yeah,
representing your business out here on
yeah,
the road.
yeah, that's facts, all facts. So,
Most important thing about doing business is continuing to do business.
mhm.
You know what I mean? All like everybody will tell you if they're successful, they'll be like, "Man, all my best business deals have been repeat business." You
Yes,
know?
that's another thing because even with if you'll notice some of my tours, like even like this one that me and my girl are going on.
Shout
I'm
out. She be holding you down, man. Shout
yeah,
her out.
shout out Bo Peep.
Woo!
Yeah. But we're doing another one in like for Council Bluffs, Oface has kind of been our spot. Obviously go to Lawrence, Bottleneck, and then what was the other? Oh, Lefties, which for Des Moines has been my spot. So and even then, like there's definitely a in some of these towns, obviously there's other venues and all that. But when I've built a rapport with people at these places, especially like the owner of Oface, and then at the same time, I keep at the same time like there's artists like that I'll get. There's artists that like locally that just really mesh with us, like within like as far as just the vibe, the chemistry, their style of music kind of fits in with me and
Yeah.
some of my guys,
Up
and
there you
so
got
yeah,
like the Outlaws, Kid
yeah,
Corduroy. They're right
yeah,
up the
yeah,
alley.
yeah. So you definitely so yeah, I say yeah, stick to with what works. And so when you're coming back to these towns and these venues, like hit up the guys that you've worked with and all that kind of stuff. And so keep it consistent. So that's kind of
Yeah,
something
and
that's what I learned.
it can that's a good it's a good piece of advice, but
Mhm.
sometimes as an artist you can feel like maybe you're not growing because you keep playing the same place. But you got to
Yeah.
keep in mind you're building something bigger
Uh-huh.
than that one show. That one show is just playing a
Mm.
part of your tour.
Oh
And
yeah.
you know, every time you come back to the O Face in Council Bluffs, shout out, I played there a bunch of times. Every time you go there, you know, as long as different people are coming through the door or more people are coming through the door, you're good to go. You don't need to change venues till you're selling that shit out. Theoretically, I mean, just
Yeah.
let the level up happen naturally.
That was yeah, that was always my thing. Is well, I mean, get to a point where if you're bigger than that venue, then yeah, you'll have to find a bigger place from there on out. So
Yeah, but it takes a while. You gotta build that, you know.
yeah, yeah, totally, totally. So
Totally, dude.
so let's talk about the up and coming Pak4ever Tour.
Pak4ever
That's
Tour,
looking pretty big. I mean, you're going to the Midwest, the Southwest, the West Coast. I mean,
7
that's
freaking weeks long.
oh yeah, that's a lot of dates.
Yeah, it's like
Um,
I think it's 36 days and 32 shows or something
wow,
like that.
that's
Something
big.
close to those numbers. Yeah, man, we're really hitting it hard. Trying to put on, you know what I'm saying, continue the legacy of
Mhm.
you know, hard workers from the Midwest, bro, cuz
Yeah,
that's what the fuck the Midwest has that on lock. Nobody works harder than the Midwest. And it's not really a good thing cuz you know, people like us, you know, we kind of want a little more shine, you
Mhm.
know, but out here everything's so industrial and it's like nope, you work your whole life, you work and you grind until you die, and then your son does that until they die, and then they have kids, and then it just cycle, and that's okay. But you know what I'm saying, we're creative motherfuckers and we need to be
oh, we are.
working. Let's take that same mindset and just apply it to something we love rather than something we feel like we have to do because it's the only
Hmm.
thing around.
Yeah, and yeah, I'm excited. I'll be on 4 dates with you guys. One
Yep.
of them, well, one of them's my show, so Wichita at Barleycorns, and then I'm bringing you guys out to Owasso at the District,
Yes, sir.
and then I'll be joining you guys for Norman at
Norman.
Sci. Why do I always say it? Oh, Incom Cyber Hall.
Yep. Incon
Okay,
Cyber Hall.
and
Then we're off
then
to Texas after that.
yeah, Fort Worth, Texas at the Haltom Theater, and then I
Will you
got to
be on
head
that one?
home. Yep, that'll be
Hell
my.
yes.
Yeah, I have to head home in time for my open mic and my life in general. So
Hell yeah.
so
And
yeah,
then
looking.
from there we're going to Amarillo. Then we're
Hmm.
going to New Mexico for 3 days, and then we'll be in California for 3 days. We're skipping right over Arizona this time, which kind of breaks my heart, but
Yeah, I love
is
Arizona.
is what it is, I guess. Um,
Yeah.
so then we'll spend 3 days. We've got San Diego, LA, and Sacramento. We couldn't land a LA show, but we'll be there partying, creating content. We'll be in a couple studios. We'll be linking up with everybody we can. The goal is like find a fucking party and perform there, or just perform on Venice Beach. You know, I don't really give a
Yeah.
fuck. Um, then you know from there we'll work our way up to Seattle through Oregon, and then come back in the mountains for a while. Ending up in Colorado. Obviously, you got your like Salt Lake City and shit up there.
Hmm.
Um, and then we'll come back to Des Moines right before coming back to Kansas City for that 311 show at 420 with or at Grinders with 311 on 420. Shout out Major Pack. And then we got a couple days off in the home city, and then we'll take off again, heading towards New York, and then we'll finish off in Atlanta before coming back and finishing in Kansas City again.
Nice, nice. So so tell the people about Pak4ever. Like, what's the story behind that name?
So, I'm Schwem, punk ass kid.
Uh huh.
What does it mean to be a punk ass kid? Is really what you're asking. That means to be yourself without fear of being judged. Just to be truly yourself and work towards what you love, because that's what everybody wants to do at the end of the day. We just life circumstances get in the way unless we truly decide to be ourselves, and then life circumstances can fuck off. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna do like do what you want. Like that pack mentality is just knowing who you are and being that. And uh that's really it. It's all a mind state, really. So I've had the Punk Ass Kid mixtape series. I had one, two, and three. Three was the biggest one so far, but they're all like very vital. They capture these moments in my life that are just like it's so crazy looking back.
Yeah.
It's like I'm at such a different place now, but essentially the fourth one is Pak4ever, because it's like once you are a punk ass kid, at least if you're me, you're always gonna be that. It's always gonna be inside of you. And my dad was a fucking punk ass kid. He didn't give a shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying he
Mhm.
was a bad person, because he was a
Yeah,
great
yeah,
person,
yeah.
but he turned the fuck up, and he was very passionate about the things that he loved, and that's what it means to be a punk ass kid. And my mom was the same way. My mom, she never let anybody tell her what to do. She didn't give a fuck. She was always getting in trouble. She didn't give a shit. You know what I'm saying? She's like, this is who I am. I don't give a fuck.
Mhm.
And it's not white trash. That's like it's not like white
Yeah.
trash, super ghetto. I mean, that's all part of it. But really, to be a punk ass kid is just knowing who you are. So, Pak4ever is this album that I'm coming out with later this year, and so the theme of the tour is just I'ma always be who I am, and I think you should
That's the way.
too.
Yeah, that's the way to be, man. I know it sounds to some people like it might sound like a generic thing because everyone says, "Hey, this is who I am. I'm gonna be me, or I'm gonna do me." But actions speak louder than words, and so it's always more comforting to be around people who, because it's so odd to be around someone, or even when you know them or you don't know them. Because even if you don't know them, you know it's not who they are, and
Yeah,
it's very like soul crushing to be.
ingenuine.
Yeah,
Yeah, that shit
very
sucks, man.
ingenuine. So, but I think it's out of fear. I think like some people just feel like, well, I kind of have to I kind of have to act and be like this.
Yes, 100%.
And
And that's the thing. That's the
mhm,
trap, man.
yeah,
That's the man getting you down.
yeah, yeah. And a lot of that is, it could be caring what people think. It could be, I know everyone says they don't care what people think, but some people do.
Oh yeah,
And
we all
it's
do. We
yeah.
all do.
So it's that's a growing aspect. So
Hundred
you
percent.
kind of grow, and then you kind of learn to kind of have like some kind of barrier, kind of some kind of wall from other people's opinions and thoughts of you. And once you're able to kind of break from that fear of other people's opinions and expectations, it's a very strong feeling of like freedom. Like
Hell yeah, it is.
it's great for your spirit to just be able to be yourself in that way.
Yeah,
So
and
yeah,
and
that's
it's about being yourself, but living in the moment too.
yeah. So we'll tell you what, let's end it on this. Let's you said that you were in a band and in the early days, so I figure we could end
Yeah,
on a band
thank
story.
God. I wrote it
Yeah.
down on my hand just so I made
Okay.
sure I didn't
Okay.
forget it.
All
Cause
right, cool.
yeah, no, that's cool. We both started in bands, so like I had my rap shit going. That was the
Mhm.
first thing I did solo career. Um, but I had a different name. It was Schwem Dollar Bim instead of just Schwem. And then so I started a couple bands really. I was the drummer for a band, and then that didn't really do anything. We were all a bunch of teenagers. It really helped me get through some shit, and it started a lot of shit that we're doing now, because now my main engineer at the studio that I work at all the time, Sound Peak, he was in that band with me as
Yeah.
a fucking 16-year-old. So it really helped us get through all that shit. Me specifically, I was going through those two deaths. My stepdad of lung cancer, which is essentially a suicide type death because it's from smoking and shit, and not giving a shit about your body. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Exposing yourself to weird shit. And Lexi, my best friend and girlfriend, who killed herself. And I was in rehab when she killed herself. So not only did that happen, but I couldn't go to her funeral or nothing. It was really hard for me to digest. So me playing drums for that band changed my life, and it gave me something to do. And my stepdad, was the cancer was in his brain. He was acting really fucking insane, doing all sorts of weird shit that wasn't him, because he had cancer in his brain. You know what I'm saying? You start doing weird shit when that happens. And the band really got me through that, but they didn't go anywhere. But it got me in a place to where I played with another band as an opening act. And then me and the bassist, who's the engineer I told you about, or no, he's the guitarist, right?
Right.
We both joined that band. I was a singer, and then he became the bassist. And then so we were in this band called Reconvene for a couple years, and that's how we got like our first group of fans, and set up our own few shows that weren't related to the rap shit. But I
Yeah.
would perform my rap shit right before performing the band shit. So it's pretty
Nice.
crazy. Tell
Nice.
me
Nice.
about your band.
Oh, I was in three bands. First one was called Counterfeit Reality, and it was a new metal band, which I know we fought against that
Yeah,
genre, but
I was
we
in the
were.
metal band too. Yes,
I
sir.
mean, I mean, but when our influences is Corn, Corn, Slipknot, Mudvayne. I
Yep.
mean, what what else are we
It's
gonna?
a it's a
Yeah,
vibe. It's a
yeah,
vibe,
yeah.
man.
It was I learned a lot from that. Then after that band there was a band in Rogers, Arkansas called None Were Found. They were like more like metalcore, which was a good time to be in that because that was kind of I call it hot topic metal. That's my
Oh yeah.
joke. I call it hot.
Oh yeah.
That's so that's kind of when like Bleeding Through and As I Dying, Kill Switch Engage, they all kind of that was kind of the peak when those bands were coming out. So we were in a kind of a good time, but like I said, majority of the members were fans of Misfits, horror movies. So obviously and it's so funny because I'm more into that shit now than I was then. So, but no, so and so the bass player lived in Tulsa, and so me and him would drive 2 hours to Rogers once a week for band practice, and then we would do shows. I did my first tour. We did Midwest to West Coast. Came back with less than a penny to our names. My to this day, yeah,
Yep, that's how
yep,
it goes.
yeah.
Sometimes.
Van breaks down in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado.
Oh no.
We had to spend $400 to get alignment fixed in Las Vegas. We got treated like shit in Los Angeles. I got to eat In-N-Out Burger for the first time, so that was cool.
Yeah.
Went to motels, lied. It says there's only two of us when there was really eight of
Oh,
us.
you better be lying. Hell yeah.
Yeah, just so we could all save money and all get into one room.
Yeah, the
Um,
fuck those hotels talking about you only three guests. It's like, what do you mean? There's two beds and a fucking couch pull out. Like we can fit 8 motherfuckers in here easy.
yeah. So, yeah,
Fuck hotels.
yeah. I love hotels.
No, I love
I
them. They're
just hate
very
their
helpful.
rules. I
They're very
hate
helpful. But I'm
deposits.
gonna lie to their fucking face though every time. I
Yeah.
don't give a
Oh yeah.
shit.
Yeah. That happened to us in Lawrence, Kansas. Freitas can tell you about it because there was four of us. It was me, him, Patch Flowers, and Roach Spliff.
Hey, I know
And
everybody on that
yeah,
lineup.
and we shared beds or whatever. And then the hotel found out about it, which I'm not gonna lie, it was a motel. There's a difference. They found out about it, and then they said, okay, well now it's $35 per person per night. So we end
Hell
up
no, it's not.
yeah, so yeah, they fucked us pretty bad on that.
Man,
So
fucking, I was in Dallas on the big wavy tour, and it was something like it was like, we'll have four people in the room, but we really had six type shit,
yeah, yeah,
and they were like, and for some reason, like we didn't think about it. Everyone came in the lobby at once, and they're like, "Are you guys all doing it?" And I was like, well, yeah." And then they were like, "Well, we got to charge you early," and then I was just like, I started spazzing like a Karen. I was like, "Hell the fuck no!" Like I already bought this shit online. We're on tour. I don't care. Like we're not doing that. And luckily it worked out and they didn't charge us extra. But I wouldn't recommend people do that. But
yeah.
every once in a while you gotta Karen out, man. What up, Jade?
Oh yeah, Jada. Gonna see you Friday. We're gonna talk about Friday here in a second. That will be our
Hey,
outro. I promise. My girl's looking at me. I got to end the
yeah. Okay,
podcast here.
we got
Um,
Roses with Dead Polar
yeah,
and Young Chad that drops tonight. Roses with Dead
yep.
Polar and Young Chad. Young Chad's playing a show right now at the Bottleneck. Also at midnight, we got the motherfucking Sprout Collective
Mm-hmm.
93 and Alive record. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I'm on that bitch 4 times. How many times you on
Yeah.
it?
I'm on once with ATM and Jade Ha. It's called
Yeah, I'm
Neil.
surprised. I figured you'd be on there at least a couple times.
One's enough. I'm just kidding.
He said, "You're paying for the next one, ATM."
Yeah.
He said, "Yeah, yeah,
But
you
yeah.
paying."
So then I guess to end my story on the band thing, my last band was called Cersei's Angels, which is a band I helped form. We started off kind of rough like most bands, but I would say during the bulk of the band's time, we kind of became like a thrash metal band with like death metal and black metal vocals. Because I mean, so musically, like it would sound like Black Sabbath or Metallica or at times Pantera, and then vocally it would sound like Lamb of God or Cradle of Filth or Cannibal, Cannibal
Cannibal Corpse.
Corpse. Yeah, yes, thank you. Dying
Dude,
Fetus
yeah,
and
no,
stuff like
that's
that.
sick.
So
Hell yeah.
yeah, we did. I would say aside from, and then we did some weekend tours. We didn't do anything too extensive touring wise, but we definitely bounced around quite a bit. Put out an album. We had a good merch game going, and so yeah. So that was the last band, and then that was around the time I just started kind of getting a different taste, and then I
Let
started
me
having
ask you something related to that.
yeah.
Did you feel, or rather, what role did you play for that band? Because now you're an artist, you have to handle your own booking, you have to handle your own merch, you have to handle your mixing and mastering and facilitating all that. How was that in the band? Was somebody else taking the lead, or were you all working on it, or how did that go?
No, we all handled it. I mean, I for the most part handled because Cersei's Angels was my last band. Was during the MySpace era, so um um so that was prior to Facebook and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I would operate the base. We all had access to the MySpace, but I think I definitely when it came to like booking, I was pretty much the guy. Like I was the guy that was like talking to other people or setting up the shows. When it came to everything, when it came to managing the band fund, we did all that. When it came to like, hey, let's get some more merch, we all did that together. So,
Cool.
so I was kind of outside of the vocalist. I was the one, who handled the booking and stuff like that. So,
Yeah, well, and a lot of times the vocalist got to be that one because
yeah,
realistically, that motherfucker dragging their feet. Like the vocalists don't have no equipment. Vocalists, you pretty much have to do the least amount of work at practice. Like,
oh yeah,
so it's easy for the person in the vocals to pick up the slack there. Plus,
yeah,
everyone's kind of looking at you because although it's like easier, you do kind of have to set the tone and lead. You're like the voice. You're literally the voice. So it's like,
yeah,
yeah. And so when I was in the bands, um, Reconvene was the band that actually did something besides practice a bunch. Um, I was the one making the merch, trying to make sure everything was good in terms of set lists. I was trying to be organized and essentially, I was leading the band, but that was my role. And I ended up feeling like creatively, I wasn't leading the band as much as I was physically, right? Which was okay because I had my whole solo career of rap music that was also being worked on. But I did end up feeling like I was pretty much doing everything and everyone else was kind of dragging their feet, which sucks. But I love all those dudes and I love that era of my life. It made me who I am.
I think just about every band's got the guy that does majority of it, and then everyone else just kind of doesn't do anything other than play
but
music.
transferring that energy, yeah, everybody else just gets high.
I hear those stories a lot from
but
band members.
transferring
Like,
that
yeah,
energy from the band just to my solo shit felt really good because then it's like, okay, now I actually can put in the time that I need to be putting in. You know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. All right, man. Well, we're gonna go ahead and cut. We're going to go ahead and end the live stream.
Right.
If
I
you
really appreciate it, bro.
So if you want to give it, let people know where they can find you.
You can find me at Schwem_PAK. So SCHWEM_PAK. That's pretty much all platforms. Either that or Water Baby, one word with 3 Y's on the end of it.
Nice. Very nice. Very nice.
Fucking had enough. I appreciate you a bunch, man. You're a real one. One
Appreciate
time I left my hoodie at the venue we played, and you kept it for an entire year until you gave it back, and that says something.
Yeah, I had it. I had that in my. I hope you washed. I hope you threw that in the laundry because I'd been in my trunk for almost 9 months.
I washed it.
That's all right. Well, that's like a pregnancy. 9 months. I had that. I had your. I waited until the next time you and I got to see each other again. Next time you came through my town, or next time I came through yours.
I think you were in Lawrence or something.
Yes, I think I was, and then I was like, hey, come to my car. I got some for you.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
All right. I love y'all, man.
All
Shout out
right.
Had Enough. Shout out Bo Peep.
Yeah.
Shout out Tulsa in general.
All right, bro. All right. You have a good night.
Thank you. You too.